Good morning, everybody. It's Nick, and I'm here on Monday, a snowy Monday, and I guess that is the same for a lot of people. I just woke up to news that Texas has rolling blackouts, so I'm guessing everybody is dealing with a lot right now. So if you are socked in, sorry to hear that, and I hope it gets better for you. Stay safe, and you know, don't get too cold. Don't over shovel if you are not capable. And yeah, yeah. While everybody's getting on here, I'm just gonna just roll through some stuff. What's going on? It's Valentine's Day weekend. Um, we it was different for us. Lynn had to go out of town. She had to attend to her father, and it was me and the boys. So we had crab legs and hung out on Valentine's Day. Just kind of. Actually, yesterday was busy. I don't want to. I guess I shouldn't diminish what I did yesterday. Yesterday was kind of a cleanup day. Clean the house, organize the house, did some stuff in the living room, and did some stuff in the garage. The garage is torn apart right now. Kind of a mess, but at the same time, there's some areas that are really cleaned up, which I guess is a good analogy for life in general. Sometimes you have to kind of rip it apart to reorganize it, so it might look like a mess at the time, but the end result will be really, really good. So looking forward to that. You know, so you know, this photo in our user group got some attention. This is our new chair that I found on sale at Home Depot. It's actually pretty comfy. And what I did with this, in my time sitting in our bedroom, for all that time when I was sick the other week, which I tested negative. I'm sorry, I tested negative for COVID in the antibody test too. So I don't know what it was, but I was sick. But anyway, sitting there realizing that corner of my room needed more than just, nothing. I created sort of another little place to get away and read. And what this has done for me is it gets me out of bed for my reading in the morning and in the evening. So I would keep the book on my nightstand, and when I wake up, I read a little bit, and before I go to bed, I read a little bit. But it was too closely connected to sleep, I think. So it was almost like optional whether I read or not. And so I had spent some time reading in the den, which was very nice and comfy, right next to a window, by the fireplace if I wanted to light a fire, a nice comfortable chair I could lean back in. I bought a little table to hold my tea, and I posted that photo last week. But I still needed like a place to get away. Like if there was noise in the house, if there was stuff going on, I needed a place to get away. So I wanted this space in my room, and I've used it a lot, more than I thought I would actually. It's nice, it's quiet, and I feel like in my post in the user group, I made the mention that like the more I help myself by creating spaces to get away, like the more I integrate the habits that I want to do them, the easier I make them, the more likely I am to do them. So in this particular instance, having a place to read, I can easily, if I'm reading in the den, I can easily make the excuse that like the kids running around or Lynn running the vacuum or Lynn talking on the phone, interrupts me and I can't read. It's distracting, whatever that might be. But if I have another place to go, then I don't have that excuse, right? And so I think the more options I give myself and the more I integrate it into my everyday life, even just walking past a place where I can easily sit down and pick up a book and read a couple pages, it just makes it more part of me. And I find myself reading a lot more. In fact, much more in the past week. So I'm really enjoying it. And we're going to talk about, actually, I might as well just talk about them right now. So the books that I've been reading, I've been listening again to Mind Hacking Happiness. Now, we talked about Volume 1 a couple of weeks ago. And Volume 1 is more about like how to identify what's making you unhappy and how to really focus on what does make you happy. And I think it's a very important concept, and it's something I've been trying really hard to work on myself. It's that self map. It's like what you identify as yourself. And that concept, like of all the things that make you upset and all the things you get mad about, the reason you get mad is because you're making that part of your identity. So when people get upset to the point of even killing each other over sports, it's because their team has taken apart, a space in their identity map. And we want to avoid doing that with things that really don't matter in the end. So we want to kind of like make our map of things that we identify as us a lot smaller and make sure they're just the most important things. And he goes into, exercises and tactics that you can use to build a healthier mindset and be happier. And including meditation, which I've gotten much more into, going for longer periods of time over the past couple of weeks, and I feel better because of it. And I actually find myself looking forward to it and enjoying it again. So I'm really liking that. Now I've gone to volume 2 of Mind Hacking Happiness, which is much more out there, I think. But once you read the first one, that doesn't seem so out there. So if you were to start reading volume 2, you would go, "What is this stuff?" But when you're already primed up for it with volume 1, volume 2 doesn't seem so crazy. But one of the things he talks about is his enlightenment experience. It's kind of like his meditation took him to like an otherworldly level of enlightenment, which again seems a little bit crazy until maybe you start, really getting into this whole process and what it is. And the whole book goes into, how it's almost impossible to be an atheist. Whether, whatever your definition of God is, like that there almost has to be some sort of supreme intelligence. And he talks about his experience with that, in unconditional love and like all of this thing. So it's a very interesting book. And I find myself sort of in awe of it, in craving like that kind of experience, like that bigger meaning for everything. So it was very interesting. I recommend starting with the first one, Mind Hacking Happiness, Volume 1. And if you like that, go into Volume 2. Very good. What I've found, though, as I work on it, as I work on really being mindful of my actions and thoughts and what I say every day, what I find is that outside of a sterile environment, outside of my home environment, it's like such hard work to really pay attention to that mindfulness. Then when back like outside in a random environment, whether it's in, walking through the neighborhood, talking to neighbors or whatever, is that like all like old instincts come back rushing back hard. Insecurities and patterns of behavior and patterns of speaking come back like with a vengeance. It's almost like your personality saying, I will not be suppressed. And so, like some of the behaviors and things that I don't want to be part of me anymore are still like kind of fighting back. And so I think that's that constant struggle. And I think he even talks about like the ego in his book, and in fact I know he does, and how the ego will fight back against, it's because it has its own identity and it wants to be seen and heard and wants to exist. And you like when there's doubt and when things are changing, it doesn't like that. So it's that struggle. I'm seeing it, and I see it, the harder I try to be a little more present and a little bit more healthy. Healthy. I find myself, I find parts of my inner workings trying to fight back, and so like beating that one into submission or whatever that might be. I don't know, but trying to figure all that out. So it's very interesting. It's a crazy experience. I think it's responsible for, this book and some other books I've read in the past are really responsible for a lot of changes I've made in my life. Certainly not complete, but I wouldn't not do anything that I've done. It's given me a sense of purpose, a sense of understanding what goes on around me with people in the environment. It also has led to some frustration as I've become aware of things. But I'm on the journey and trying to figure it all out, and eventually maybe I will. But you never know. I'm gonna hit the comments real quick before I get into my second book here. Kathy, good morning. 17 degrees in Nebraska. Yeah, that's cold. It's just about that cold here too. But I hear Dallas is like 0 with a -11 wind chill, which is crazy for down there. And they have rolling blackouts and people like without heat for 45 minutes and blah, blah, blah. It's crazy, crazy. Martha, good morning. Jean, good morning. Brenda, good morning. Sheila, oh my goodness, Sheila made it. Made it to a DMD live. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sheila. Sheila is our user group rock star. Terry, good morning. Get to do a live for a change since it's President's Day. Yeah, you know what? I didn't anticipate the President's Day people being here. Our kids actually have school today, but it was a flexible instruction day because of the snow. In fact, this is what it looks like outside my door right now. Actually that was taken about an hour ago, so there's more snow now. But we're supposed to get like 7 to 9 inches or something like that, but now they're only forecasting like 3. So, but the problem is that there's no light at the end of the tunnel. Like if you look at the 7-day or the 10-day forecast for my area, there's snow, like 4 inches of snow in like 3 days, like an inch of snow every day, and then 4 inches of snow on Thursday or Friday, and then beyond that, I think there's even more. So there's just no light at the end of the tunnel. It's crazy. Terry, gonna make chili. Oh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Kathy, good morning. Good morning, Anna. Good to see you. Who is the author? Sean. I can't remember. Sean something. I will post a link to it in the comments after this is over. John Hargrove. No, that is somebody else. I don't know what John Hargrove's book is. Is that the guy from CNN? I'll have to look up that one too. Terry, you're welcome. I don't know what Terry... Oh, you asked the author. Yeah, Terry, that is not the one I'm talking about. I will post the one that I mean. Jean, you should try the book Lightworkers by Shavana Arienta. All 4 books are great. She helps you understand how to go through different levels, or 2 different levels. Awesome. I will look at that. I am a light worker. Thank you, I think. Yeah, well, I'm guessing by your emojis that yes, I should say thank you. But I'll have to look at that. Thank you very much. Terry says 7 to 11 inches there through Tuesday. Yeah, I don't want to have to shovel that. I've been using my Tuesday snow shoveling as my workout for Tuesdays. It apparently won't be that bad today, so we'll see. All right, let's move on here. So, other things that happened this weekend. This is my 10-year-old cleaning his own bathroom. This weekend was the weekend we decided to graduate him to doing it completely by himself. Had to do a little inspection at the end and clean up a couple things, but he did a very good job. I was very impressed. He was very organized. You can see all the stuff stacked up on the window there. He did a very, very good job. And so, like, some people would say, "Hey, can you teach my kid to do this?" And I think I think this is the same as anything else we do in life. Like, I'm not running a sweatshop here, but at the same time, I want to teach my kids good habits, right? And so, we allow them probably more time than they need to on their devices, especially right now. But at the same time, I also want them to be responsible. And so we have, their daily disciplines on a whiteboard in the hallway, and they have to check off their daily disciplines every day, including feeding the dog and cleaning up dog poop, which he's gotten out of for weeks because it's covered in snow. But, the bathroom is one of his things. And, it started off, back before the holidays as just him watching me do it. And then I would have him chip in, and then he would do more. And now this weekend he did all of it himself. than with, some me just checking over just to make sure he got everything. And, so it's a matter of just being consistent and letting him know that it's not an argument. It's kind of that conversation we have to have with ourselves. Like, no, I'm not going to bother arguing with myself. I decided I'm going to do this, so I'm going to do it. Same thing with him. Like, this isn't a discussion. This is something you're going to be required to do. If you argue about it, there's going to be consequences. So don't argue about it and just get it done, and then we can be done with it. So that's the conversation we have, and he did a good job. And I think, hopefully if I'm doing this right, he'll be a better person for it in the end. So that's kind of the thing we got going on there. What else we got going on here? Snow. Okay, good. We hit everything. All right. You love the book recommendations? Thank you. I'll keep bringing them, especially as I'm reading at a much quicker pace right now. Andrea, good morning from the RV in the desert for President's Day. Awesome. You got a lot of desert people here. Welcome. I actually sort of miss being in the desert. I lived in Vegas for a little while we were in the military. While I was in the military, and yeah, I'm kind of missing it right now. The snow, I like the snow. I think it's beautiful. It's good for a time. It's like getting a little bit overboard right now. All right. So my second book that I'm reading right now is called The Second Mountain. And that one I'm really happy with. I think it's that one that came at the perfect time, and I'll talk about it more later as I finish it. I'm about 3/4 of the way through right now. But I want to talk about one thing as it applies to Define My Day. And this specific passage got attention this weekend. And I want to describe a conversation I had with a user because I think it might even need to be a little bit more fleshed out. So this was the passage that I posted. This one really hit home for me. And it's the structured discipline is necessary if you want to escape the tyranny of a scattered mind. And so what this says to me is that if you have a scattered mind, you need to be even more mindful of being disciplined. And so I think we all need to be mindful to be disciplined, but I think that when the people that need it most are the ones that have the most scattered mind, so they need to focus more on discipline. It's, the people that, you may be, unhealthy with a bad diet, so you need to focus more on a diet. You might need, maybe you are not a skilled reader, but, in order to fix that, you need to read more. So you can, basically, the lack of skill or ability, the weakness only points out that you need to do more work to strengthen it. So I posted this in the group because I think it's a big part of my self-development. This idea that, when I started doing the Define My Day process, I did it because I was not naturally organized. I was not naturally focused on the most important things in my life. I was not naturally able to see how my daily actions were connecting and causing the direction of my life. And so I needed to bring some awareness around to that. And that happened through discipline. Not because I enjoyed discipline, although you sort of learn to enjoy it, but because that discipline enabled me to do bigger things. And so you can't look at disciplining yourself as something that's shackling you, that's like this rigid behavior that makes your life miserable. That's not what this or anything really is intended to do. Anything in regard to personal discipline, it's not intended to make your life miserable. We use the example of Tom Brady. Tom Brady has things that most people will never attain, and he's really enjoying that. I'm sure he is. And the only reason he got it, or one of the main reasons he got it, is his personal discipline, his diet, his exercise, his mindfulness, like his behaviors, how much he studies. He gets to attain certain things because of the work he puts in. So, you put in hard work, it's like kind of the work hard, party hard mentality, it's just a little bit flipped. You work hard, you get big rewards. And it's the people that don't work or that aren't disciplined that the rewards are fleeting. The rewards are random. There's no cause and effect. And so it's hard to find purpose. It's hard to find goodness and joy in the world when the good things only come to you randomly. And that's why we need to be disciplined in where we place our energy and time. And so I posted this in the user group, and somebody posted. I'm not going to say the person by name, but I do want to flesh this out. So a person responded, "I hate routines. I run away from them, but it does not contradict with discipline. Just rearranging the time frame to get things done." And so while it's okay to be free and flow with the moment, it can't be something to live by. And it's not so much a matter of opinion. I mean, it's like there are certain things that over thousands of years, can be debated, but are generally accepted as fact because, and it's almost frustrating that it is debated still, because there are some things, like as enlightened as we think we are in the modern world, there are still a lot of really unhappy people out there. and it's because we almost feel like it shouldn't be that hard, or that we shouldn't need to work to attain. And some things are easier because of just the way society is structured right now. But we do need personal discipline to be able to enjoy that free time and really enjoy the fruits of our labor. And so my response to this person, trying to kind of reframe it and come up with an analogy, my response was, what would you say if someone told you they hate brushing their teeth? Now, really, the only answer is you still have to brush your teeth. If you don't want your teeth falling out, if you don't want rotten teeth, you still have to brush your teeth, whether you like it or not. And that's kind of how I look at personal discipline. You might not enjoy it, and most people don't. You learn to sort of thrive within some structure, but if the end result you want is healthy teeth, you have to brush them. But so this is how the conversation went. The person responded back to me, I would question the type of brush, type of toothpaste, process of getting water, hands versus cup, as well as the time in which they brush. And so then my response was, but they hate it. Tried every method, every brush, every method of getting water, hate it. The person asks, is it a sensitivity issue? And then I responded simply, does it matter? Because in the end, again, it doesn't. All that matters is that you need to brush your teeth if you don't want them to fall out, right? There are a lot of different factors in there that can impact why you like or why you don't like brushing your teeth, or but none of it matters in the end if you want healthy teeth. So the person responds, in the end, it depends. It's important to understand the why of their hate brushing teeth. Understanding the problem in depth might shed some light on solutions. If not important to understand and simply focus on cause-effect, you absolutely have I think they meant tried every method possible for them to not hate brushing teeth, then ultimately their consequences, cavities, root canals, no teeth at all, might bring them to a compromise and brush them in spite of their hate to do so. I must admit, I'm no expert on the field of teeth brushing and sensory issues. And so then my response was, exactly. And in the end, if the person wants healthy teeth, the only answer is to care for them through brushing. We don't always need to know the complicated details, the how or the why, or even like the process. All that we need to know is that if we want the result, be it personal freedom or healthy teeth, we have a proven method to get there. No need to complicate it. And that's exactly the point. We tend to overcomplicate a lot of this. Personal discipline, habits, doing Define My Day. All of it, we tend to really make it complicated when it doesn't need to be. a lot of times we don't need to even understand the why. We just know we need to do it, because if we get paralyzed through analysis, then we don't actually do the work and we wear ourselves out thinking about it too much. And that can't happen, because that just leads us to a stagnation level event. I mean, we're just stuck, and we can't be there. And so while I appreciate this person's want to be empathetic, I appreciate the fact that they're trying to understand the reasons behind it, in the end, it doesn't change what needs to happen. So, I am all about, and I think the books that I'm currently talking about, I am all about really struggling to understand myself and the people around me, and just the world in general, and society, and why people think certain things. I really struggle with trying to understand a lot of that. But it doesn't change the basic need to do really important things, like being personally disciplined in our lives at points. And I think I go back to what this person initially said. I run away from routines. We can't. We need routine. There are clear-cut benefits to routine. And if you run away from routines, it's only to your detriment. If you truly want to be as happy as possible, as energetic and joyful as possible, we need to implement certain routines to make sure that we are efficient, that we are productive when we need to be, so that we can be free to be, as in the moment as we can be at other times. So don't look at, this isn't a black or a white situation. This is very much it's gray. I mean, it's like we have to, it's going back to that river of well-being. You can't get too hard into the cold, dead bank of rigidity, and you can't get caught up in the swirling bank of chaos. We want to navigate in the middle. So at times we need routine. At times we need to be on task. And at other times in our day and in our lives, we can get caught up in chaos, but we need to be aware of it. Always trying to navigate toward that middle of the calm and that river of well-being, so that we can be the best person, the healthiest person that we want to be. And hold on one second, because I know my camera's going to go off for a minute. In the end, a lot of times, I see people define themselves as, I just can't do this because, I'm not wired that way, or that's not me. And you can't look at routine and healthy habits. You can't look at that as a negative. We have to flip the script on it as looking at it as a tool and a process and time well invested to give ourselves the freedom to be the person we most want to be. And so going back to this statement, structured discipline is necessary if you want to escape the tyranny of the scattered mind. I would take that as fact and not opinion. Work on that statement as fact. Whether you're using Define My Day or any other method of structuring your life, Atomic Habits, the Miracle Morning, any of that. Look at adding structure to your life as a way of attaining greater freedom overall. The more structured and disciplined you can be with yourself to a healthy level, the happier you will be. Now, we don't want to overdo it, obviously. We don't want to become so structured that, we're living by this timeline that's overwhelming us. That's not the result that we want. So we always have to keep our mind toward the result. Is what we're doing now leading us to the result that we want? If the answer is no, we have to figure out what's going on and fix it. And I liken this to driving a really fun sports car, right? It's great in the moment. Like, it's fun. Like, just going out and like hitting the road and driving, right? You're just taking any turn, whatever looks good to you, right? You're driving fast, you're partying, singing out the windows, whatever. You're taking the straightaways fast. You're hitting the corners hard. You're loving life, sun shining. Just picture it, right? Just picture this like open road, like you're having a blast. But if you never took a moment to think about where you're going to get gas or where you're going to even end up, you could find yourself in the middle of a desert with no gas, no food, no water, right? You could find yourself away from civilization. You could find yourself driving off a cliff like Thelma and Louise, right? Because some thought about where you're going has to be done. If you go hard at the, just freewheeling it, eventually there's going to be a negative consequence. You don't want to be a drone, but you also don't want to be 100% carefree, because neither leads us to a happy place. And you see this a lot. Like, I've seen it more this year than ever. I'm not going to let blank rule my life. It's like that statement like is really I hear it a lot, and it's usually from people that are really unhappy. I'm not going to let blank rule my life. The word fear is in there a lot in the past year because of the whole COVID situation. But the people that say it are generally the people that are the most angry or unhappy. And why is that? Why is it? Is it because, I don't know, I'm asking you because it's a thought that just happened, occurred to me recently in thinking about doing this session with you, is that why, the people that seem to be obviously running away from an obligation or something seem to be the ones that are the most angry and the most upset or the most sad or in the most turmoil. And so I think there's something there. And I don't know exactly what it is yet. I think it's this avoidance of structure, this avoidance of accountability. It's an avoidance of something. And I'm not saying that that's in relation to this person here that I'm having this conversation with in the user group. It's just kind of led me down this path of thinking of like what's going on here. As I start thinking more and more about people that are adverse to structure and routine. There's the book I read, Outliers, a couple of weeks ago by Malcolm Gladwell. He talks about a school in New York, and now I guess there's campuses in like 40 different cities across the United States. And that school is highly structured, and its goal is to take inner city kids from poor communities and give them structure and discipline so that they can have an opportunity to go to really great colleges. And their student body predominantly goes to schools like Harvard, really high-end schools. And to look at their schedule, I wouldn't even put my kids through their schedule. I mean, some of these kids, they were describing one 12-year-old who gets up at 4 a.m. To get ready to go to school and does homework until almost midnight. That's not a schedule that I would want, but and I wouldn't want it for my kids. But the end result is incredibly important because these kids are growing up in poverty and have basically no opportunity. But they're introduced into this highly structured, very demanding school, and the result is an education and an opportunity that they would never have without it. And so you go from this extreme chaos to this extreme structure, and then the end result is the freedom to do basically whatever they want. And I think that says a lot. And I think that, while, I wouldn't impose that kind of a schedule on my kids, for some people it's obviously absolutely necessary. And given the choice between the structure and the poverty, these kids and their parents chose the structure, for a season of their lives that gets them to this amazing place, a place that a lot of people would never attain. And it's because of that structure and because of that discipline. And they say, if you ask these kids, like, is it hard? And they'll say, yeah, it's hard. And at first there's this like amazing amount of pressure and this adjustment period, as you can imagine, because you go from virtually no structure to an amazing amount of structure that most people would buckle under. But they adapt to it. It just becomes a regular part of their lives. And again, the end result speaks for itself. And I think that's incredibly important. We have to understand that the end result, that future version of ourselves, is what we're trying to work for. And sometimes that involves brushing our teeth, reading, meditating, exercising, dieting, daily reflection, writing down every day the most important thing that we need to do today to reach the goal that we want this week, this month, this year, and so on. We need to constantly be building our ability to focus on what's most important in our lives. If we fail to do that, then we cannot attain the things that we think we want. And I say we think we want because if we really want it, we go for it. We need to change it from a dream to reality. And the only way we can do that is by working for it every day. And that takes effort. It doesn't happen randomly. And the people that are going to be the most unhappy are the ones that are leaving life up to random happenings. It doesn't happen that way. Very few times do people get delivered into, this graceful, happy period of their lives without work. Very seldom. And a lot of times those people that win the lottery end up right back where they started within a couple of years. Because they don't know how to live that life. All right, I'm going to hit the comments real quick, and then we're going to head out for the day. Given that I'm a single parent this week, I have a lot of work to do. Alice says, just like if you want to lose weight, you have to take in fewer calories than you expend. Yeah, it's that simple, right? Alice, we have crazy diets and fads and trying to game the system and everything. But it's a very simple equation. If you eat 1,900 calories and expend 2,000, you will lose weight, right? Now, there are certain things in there that can change, cholesterol and heart disease and all that, right? We can eat less sugar, we can eat, but I've known people that have had nothing to eat or drink in a day except for salads and 400 calorie frappuccinos, and they've been really skinny. But eventually that's caught up with them, right? But, if you're looking at it from a weight loss perspective, absolutely, it's a very simple equation. Expend more than you eat. Simple equation. But we want to complicate it. We want to play keto games and whatever. And some of it works for a short period of time, but if we're looking for the long game, it's a simple equation, right? And if you want to be able to eat pizza, like going back to the Tom Brady thing, we're like, oh, when's the last time you had pizza, man? Because I know you eat healthy all the time. He's like, I had 2 slices of pizza a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I eat pizza. It's just not like I don't overdo it. I'm more disciplined daily. Terry says, if you don't have things written down, I wouldn't know where to start. Yeah. If I don't have things written down, I wouldn't know where to start. Absolutely. Otherwise, I would be content just sitting here in my easy chair with my kitty on my lap all day. Yeah. It's easy. It's very easy to just kind of let life happen. But then when you look back at the end of the day or the end of the week and go, man, what did I do? And the answer is a little depressing or upsetting. And we feel like we've wasted time. And I think that right there, I'm going to hit on this real quick. That feeling of wasting time, wasting life, that feeling of regretting not spending time with the most important people in our lives, or spending time doing the things that we really wanted to do in our lives, and waking up one day and having that midlife crisis or that end of life crisis. That's what we want to avoid. We want to avoid that feeling of wasting time. So we need to bring our attention back to it daily. Yeah. Alice says, for me, I avoided the structure of a consistent eating plan because I wanted what I wanted when I wanted it. Yeah. Then I connected this behavior. I connected that this behavior is in opposition to my goals in this area of my life. Yes. Yes. And it's a very, this Alice, this is a very good way of illustrating this, because I always go back to diet and exercise, because I think a lot of us are kind of have some intimate knowledge with this, right? No matter how, where on the scale we are. And I think it's that, decisions become easier when you have an understanding of what your goals are. The simple fact of not bringing junk food into the house. It's easier to make that decision in the grocery store when you can say, look, if I make it a rule that I'm not going to buy junk food no matter how bad I want it in the grocery store, then when I'm in the house, I won't have it available and I won't be able to eat it. Because when willpower is drained, and at the end of the night when you're just craving something, if it's readily available, if you don't have to get in the car for it, if you can just walk into the kitchen and grab a box of cookies or candy or something, then it's more likely to happen. So by being more disciplined at the grocery store, we can, in effect, be more disciplined at home, which, in Roy Baumeister's book Willpower, tells us, by removing that battle at home, we're not draining our willpower more, and we're not fighting that battle over and over again. We're just, we're saving that willpower for other more important things. And we don't lose. And by not losing, we're doing better. So, yeah, we can't always just eat what we want when we want it, because that leads to a bad thing. We can't let life kind of just push us in the direction that it wants us to go. Thank you, Alice. Stacy says, can you repeat the name of the book you were referring to? So there were two books I was referring to. The first one was Mind Hacking Happiness, and I cannot remember the authors of either one of these right now. Sorry. But I will post links in the comments here. The second one is called The Second Mountain. And again, can't remember the author off the top of my head, but I will put it in the comments here for you. So this week, we're getting through the snow. Things are going to be a little hectic for me with everything I have going on right now. But, I'm going to utilize my Define My Day to maintain my habits, continue, even today, because of what's going on, I've made sure to front load my day, knowing that there's going to be some unexpected things that come up today. I've already read, I've already exercised, I've already eaten my breakfast. I've gotten a lot of the routine things done, and I am now free to focus on my priorities, one of which was this video. But then I also have some other things I have to do today, while maintaining the kids, while doing laundry and cleaning the house, and all the things that need to happen. Uh, you know, more structure is the answer, right? More personal discipline is the answer, especially now. So, all right, I'm gonna head out. Thank you all for joining me. I will post the links to the books that I mentioned here in the comments very shortly. Thank you for joining me. You know, stay warm. I know it's a crazy day across the country right now with the snow and the cold. So stay warm, stay disciplined, keep moving forward, and yeah, define your day to define your life. I'll talk to you very soon.